Hi everyone. Today we are breaking down one of my favorite trips, flying the Cirrus over gorgeous blue water all the way to the Bahamas. But I want to do something a little different than what you may have seen in other videos. This video isn't just a checklist of paperwork or a casual travel vlog. Instead, today we're going to cover the real operational considerations that you have to think about as pilot in command. Because let's face it, your friends and family are counting on you. We'll use a simple framework of the plane, the pilot, and the plan. And I'm going to go through each of these, and I'm also going to share with you some of the brand new updates that were just announced as mandatory requirements from the Bahamas government in late 2025. Most pilots haven't even heard of this, but it's something that's really important for you to know about. Then we'll hop into the cockpit for an actual flight that I recently did down to Exuma. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the plane. Every trip to the Bahamas begins with asking yourself a very simple question. Is my airplane truly prepared for an offshore international crossing? From a maintenance standpoint, we want to make sure the basic things about the plane are in good shape. Don't try to attempt a trip like this with a low tire pressure or a weak battery or a magneto that's acting up. Trust me, maintenance will be a lot easier and cheaper if you do it at home in the US rather than on some remote island. Now, let's talk about the plane basics, which are pretty simple. There are a few things that you have to have. First is 12-inch end numbers. And there are absolutely no exceptions. Believe it or not, the Bahamas government has actually enforced this pretty heavily in the past couple of years. The second is a 406 megahertz ELT, which every Cirrus has and most GA airplanes have nowadays. The next thing are Mode C and ADS-B out. This is something that's crucial for Miami Center to be able to provide you airborne offshore traffic separation. Next, in terms of safety equipment, life vests are required for every occupant. They don't have to wear them, but they have to have them within reach. But I personally prefer to wear them because in the event of an emergency, I don't want to be fumbling around trying to figure out how to get the life vest on. And lastly, a raft. Not required, but highly recommended. As far as the plane paperwork, there are a few simple things that you need. First, you need a permanent US registration, no temporaries, and an airworthiness certificate. Next, you need the basic POH and weight and balance, which you probably have in the plane already. And then you need a couple of unusual things. You need an FCC radio station license for the aircraft and an FCC restricted radio operator permit for the pilot. The station license is what allows your plane to transmit over international airwaves, and the radio operator permit is what allows you, the pilot, to talk on international radio frequencies. And the last thing is a current Customs and Border Patrol decal affixed onto the plane. They do accept a receipt and paperwork showing that you purchased it if you don't happen to have it on the aircraft, but it's simple enough just to put it on the aircraft. If you skip this stuff, especially the FCC forms, you won't know it's a problem until you're standing in front of an immigration officer explaining why you don't have the right paperwork. So please don't be that pilot. Now that the plane is ready, let's talk about the pilot. This part matters far more than the paperwork. Think to yourself, are you ready for this flight? Are you both proficient and current? Are you familiar with offshore ATC procedures? While you'll be talking to Bahamas ATC, like Nassau Approach, believe it or not, most of this journey you'll be talking to Miami Center. Have you reviewed the emergency procedures unique to water crossings? And have you thought about offshore risk management? Part of risk management is to use all of the tools available to you. So be prepared to use the glide rings on the MFD, cruise altitudes that maximize glide options, and a clear ditching plan that you brief your passengers about. Remember, when things go wrong offshore, there is no textbook. Each emergency is unique, and it helps to think through and brief your options in advance. All right, now we get to the part that most pilots mess up, the plan. First, whenever you're leaving the US or arriving back into the US, you're required to file an EAPIS flight plan with the Customs and Border Patrol at least 1 hour prior. I personally don't cut it that close. I usually file the EAPIS the night before. The second, which is brand new, is that the Bahamas now also requires electronic flight notification through their new app called Airports Bahamas. There's a link for that in the description below. This is not mentioned in most YouTube videos, and most pilots don't even know about this requirement because it was just announced in fourth quarter of 2025. After you have filed both the EAPIS and the trip on the Airport Bahamas app, the next step is to file a traditional flight plan. It could be IFR or VFR, but either way, what you should do is put the EAPIS number that you get into the additional remarks section of the flight plan. Once you get to the Bahamas, be sure you land at a port of entry. There's not every single airport, especially some of these small out-island airports, are not airports of entry. So be sure to check online to verify that the airport you're going to is an airport of entry. Once you land there, there's a couple of basic documents that you'll need to have. There is a document called the C7, which is the document that allows you to arrive and depart from the Bahamas. You should have this printed on paper in at least 4 copies, and you'll need it 4 copies for the way into the Bahamas and another 4 copies on the way out of the Bahamas. The fee for this used to be $50, but as of 2025, it's now $150. In addition to that, there is another form called the C7A. This is called a cruising permit, and this is only required if you intend to bop around to other islands in the Bahamas. If you're simply going to one place and you plan to fly there, enjoy your vacation, and then fly home, then you don't need the C7A. All you need is the C7. When it's time to return to the US, be sure to file the inbound EAPIS. And it's a bit misleading, but once you file the EAPIS, you will get an email that says arrival granted. And you might think that's all you need to do, but it's not. You have to call the actual airport customs office where you're going to and verify that your time slot that you filed in your EAPIS is acceptable for them. So don't forget to do that. And then lastly, when you're coming back to the US, by default, you'll have to stop at the nearest practical airport of entry, which is effectively Miami, Miami Executive, Fort Lauderdale Executive, or Fort Pierce. However, all of these airports are relatively busy. One other pro tip is to go get an overflight permit. And if you get an overflight permit, then you can go to one of the less busy airports, which is Melbourne or Vero Beach or Daytona, or any other place that has customs in Florida. All right, enough talk. Let's go jump in the cockpit and do this for real.
Today's an exciting day. We are heading to the Caribbean. First stop is going to be in Exuma. That's why we have these stylish life vests on. And Lisa's coming along. You can tell she's very excited. She loves to fly over water. Don't you, honey? Spruce Creek, Blue Cirrus, taking active 2-4. We'll be departing to the shoreline. Spruce Creek. Daytona approach, Cirrus 547 Tango Juliet.
November 547 Tango Juliet, Daytona.
Yeah, just off Spruce Creek. Let's pick up IFR to Exuma, Mike Yankee, Echo, Foxtrot.
November 547 Tango Juliet, roger. Maintain VFR outside the class Charlie airspace, squawk 2663, and say altitude.
2663, and we're at 1,050 right now.
November 547 Tango Juliet, radar contact, altimeter 3020, maintain VFR. Present heading, climb and maintain 3,000 vectors on course.
Present heading up to 3,000, maintaining VFR, 7 Tango Juliet.
November 547 Tango Juliet, turn right heading 090.
Right, 090, 7 Tango Juliet. All right, there's the shoreline. Say goodbye.
Thank you. November 547 Tango Juliet, contact Daytona 118.85.
118.85, 7 Tango Juliet. Daytona approach, Cirrus 547 Tango Juliet, climbing out of 1,800.
November 547 Tango Juliet, Daytona, hello, climb and maintain 6,000, turn right heading 140.
Up to 6,000, right, 140, 7 Tango Juliet. Now we're heading the right way. We've just departed Spruce Creek, and we are about to head to Exuma, which is one of the most beautiful islands in the Bahamas. The turquoise blue waters there are absolutely breathtaking. Hopefully the wing camera holds out and we'll get some shots of it as we come in for the approach. But for now, there's really not much else to look at because it's all water from here on out. That's why we have the life vest. That's why we have a raft easily within reach. And it's also kind of Lisa's favorite time is when we're totally over water, right? The weather is excellent today. Our plan is to fly at 10,000 feet the whole way, and we have our life vests on. We have our raft easily within reach. Should be a pretty easy trip.
November 547 Tango Julia, contact Miami Center 126.905.
126.905, 7 Tango Julia. Now, Miami Center frequency is kind of interesting on this trip. The majority or a lot of the trip, even though we'll be outside the U.S., is actually controlled by Miami Center air traffic control. So let's give them a call. Miami Center, Cirrus 547 Tango Juliet, climbing out at 7,100.
Center 547 Tango Juliet, Miami Center, how do you hear?
Loud and clear now.
547 Tango Juliet, Orlando Center 3019er, and verify signed altitude.
3019er, and we're climbing to 10,000.
7 Tango Juliet, Roger.
The rest of the trip was all over water with just a few ATC handoffs along the way. But as you can see, the views of the approach and the landing were just stunning. I hope this video helped you feel more confident to make your first or your next trip to the Bahamas in your Cirrus or in your small plane. Just remember the framework: the plane, the pilot, and the plan. If you get these three things under control, your flight will be very rewarding. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and if you'd like to see a video like this of another country, drop it in the comments and I'll consider making it. And as always, fly safe, and I'll see you in the next adventure.